I'm Gab, he's Jules, blue skies over West London. Jules, how could it be anything else? The Premier League is back.
Yes.
La Liga is back.
Yes.
Ligue 1 is back.
Even, yeah.
And we have a week to go when the really big boys, no, just kidding, Serie A and the Bundesliga are back as well. We have a packed show because a lot of stuff happened. But I think there's one evident place to start, and that is at Old Trafford.
Yes,
The
that's
theater of dreams.
Yeah.
Manchester United against Arsenal. I'm going to come on right out and say it. Arsenal win 1-0. People can throw out the stat. It's like the 10 millionth loss at Old Trafford, blah, 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 for United. But United played really well. And I think in normal circumstances, between Raya's 2 unbelievable saves, one more unbelievable than the other, and the goal.
Which one is the most unbelievable?
I thought the first one.
I don't think that shot is on target.
The Mbumo shot?
Yeah. No, the Cunha shot.
Yeah, with the
And then the header, yeah. I don't think that one is on target. And I felt the other one was a bit central, but hey,
the other one,
they're
fine.
good saves. They're
okay.
good saves.
I thought United deserved to win this game.
I don't know. I thought a draw was probably a fair result because I think United played better. Did they play really, really well? They would have won the game if they played really well. The XG is actually not that high and not that many big chances created. The Cunha one is him on his own, really, let's be honest. And I'm not sure you count it as a big chance. But what we knew is that Cunha and Mbomo would make this team better. And they did, and they do. They are really good in their own style. Cunha still, I think, needs to own the ball to make things happen, which he has. That one shot where he goes through pretty much with a bit of luck, but the Arsenal defense, and then at the end of a long run, the shot is not powerful enough or angled enough. Or the shot that you mentioned that Raya saves. And Mbomo different, in transitions better, to isolate him and go one-on-one. This is his game. But I think, for me, this we knew. We knew that Cunha and Mbomo were much better players than anything United had going forward anyway. Sesko, we'll talk about him later. We'll have to wait and see. But I think what the most pleasing for me was how, as a team, they were better. And yeah, the rest of the team, behind Bruno, Cunha and Mbomo, is still not good enough. Dogu had a good game, but I'm not sure he's good enough. Dalot is not good enough. The back three, I wouldn't have Shaw there. De Ligt, okay, Euro is good. By India, let's not go there. So there's still a lot to do with this team. But actually, I thought collectively, the way their pressing numbers are similar to last season, but I thought they were well drilled. They moved the ball quite well, and that was very encouraging.
They looked way, way up for it. I gotta engage here on the goal here. Now, maybe I'm channeling my inner Vicario. I have had it up to here with goalkeepers just getting pushed in and getting fouled in the 6-yard box because that's what it is. And saying, oh, well, in England it's different. He's got to be strong. I don't want to see this. And look, if the Premier League, if they have certain interpretations of how it should be played, that's fine. Those interpretations are wrong. They don't line up with what the laws of the game say, what the interpretations of it are elsewhere. William Saliba, and I don't blame him. I'm not having a go at him. He does what the rules allow. His elbow is clearly in Bayern's ribs, which is why he looks so uncoordinated. I mean, not the only reason, probably. And afterwards, you're talking, whoa, can VAR, is there enough to overturn it? That's a stupid argument to make in this kind of situation because the referee, when it's a crowded penalty area, he's not going to know. He'll be guessing. That is a situation where they should have a different standard for VAR than something the referee clearly sees. There's no way the referee sees it clearly. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No. I thought.
Does that goal get disallowed in every other tournament in the world?
So you don't think the goalkeeper should be touched? If you touch the referee...
No. You can touch the goalkeeper.
I don't think there was much from Saliba on by India.
I think there's several replays that show that there was a lot.
But I think this is what happens a lot. Goalkeeper have the advantage of having their arms and hands, obviously. So there's still no way by India misses that ball.
Right. But
Saliba
I can jump with my arms and hands. But if somebody runs into me while I'm doing it, then I'm not going to be able to get the ball.
I know De Ligt barged into Raya in the second half, and Raya punches the ball.
That's a bit of whataboutery there. Raya might be a better goalkeeper than Bayern.
That's not my problem, though. It's the same. It's exactly the same.
I'm just saying this is not.
But it's exactly the same thing.
All right. I think we'll have to agree to disagree on this one.
No, it's just like if I grab your arm while you try to catch the ball, that's a foul.
Right.
If I push you when you
if you run into my arm while I'm trying to grab the ball, that's not a foul.
Well, Saliba is not on Bayern's arm though. Bayern is two arm free.
Right.
So, but that's what De Ligt does to Raya.
Actually, on Match of the Day last night, Joe Hart would dispute that. Joe Hart explains, or at least his
Well,
interpretation.
he said he had to go with the other hands.
Goalkeepers union.
Not
He
his
has to go with
favourite
the other hand because
true.
Saliba's. I don't know.
I just didn't think there was enough there, but I get your point.
All right, Jules, as promised, let's talk strikers. United started with, in the app I use, it said like Mason Mount is a center forward. He wasn't really the center forward. No. He was more like a front three where they kind of took turns. And then we saw Sesko at the end. Understandable. He just arrived. On the other end, we got to see Gyökeres, right? The big bullying number 9 to so many people. And I'm Team Havertz. He's the best on earth. First game, nobody wants to rush to judgment. He did not look good. And you can make the argument, he had 3 touches in the opposition box, touched the ball, I think, 22 times throughout the game.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that's on the players around him who didn't do a good job of getting him the ball. And I think that's true. I think other than Odegaard, United's front 4, most of them were, kind of mid in this game. Arsenal's. On the other hand, he's expecting a little more from him. I mean, he looked a little bit lost there.
True, yeah, which is understandable, I think, at times. Like for when he still arrived not that long ago, he played against Villarreal and then one half against Athletic Club de Bilbao. It's a game where Arsenal have 39% of the ball, which is not much for them. A game where they are under pressure. They've been under pressure. A game where they spend more defending than attacking because that's the way they chose it. They took the lead after 13 minutes and after that, they just tried to control everything more than trying to go and score another goal, which is something that we talked about last season, which cost them a lot because they lost a lot of points from leading position. They were 1-0 up and then got pegged back, not losing the game, but drawing the game, dropping 2 points because that desire of controlling everything instead of maybe trying to go and score another goal like City or Liverpool would do maybe. So in that situation and kind of environment, I think it's difficult for them. And this is a team that doesn't play in transition. It's a team that has the ball and instead of going quickly forward in 2 or 3 passes, they very often choose to keep the ball, play to Saka wide, who would take 2, 3, 4 touches, wait, and then they have their team in place in the opposition half, and then they move it like they want and like they know and like they've been told to. So that he will have to adapt to. They will have to adapt to him because there's a couple of times on Sunday where they could have easily play the ball through to him in transition. That could have been interesting. There's one time they did it and he kind of walked on the ball in that second half. Maybe the dry pitch on a hot day, I don't know, or maybe he just thought about it too much and messed it up really. But yeah, it's hard when it's just an hour first game against an opposition like that away from home in a game where again you haven't attacked too much.
It's a good point about them not playing in transition. I wonder, if Arteta were here, if he would say, well, Jules, I don't necessarily have the players or haven't had the players to play in transition because to do that, I need good passers from deep. And the reality is, while I have a fantastic back 4, Calafiori maybe is the best passer. And of course, the guy's injured 50% of the time. I had Partey and Jorginho last year. Jorginho, great passer, not necessarily a long passer. All these things put together, I wonder if that changes. I wonder if the signing of Madueke maybe is part of the thinking there. Yeah. Martinelli should be able to play in transition.
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Saka should be able to do whatever he wants.
But this is not, but this is not the game. And Saka is not a transition kind of player either.
But he could be.
He could become. And I think they will have to because this will suit, in some games, Leeds on Saturday at the Emirates, there won't be any transition or unlikely because they're going to play with a very deep block. And that's when we will see Gyökeres in this kind of setup where Arsenal will have a lot of the ball, 70% of the ball, and they will camp in the box, around the box of Leeds, and will have to find solutions. And let's see how he deals with that, if he's better or not than United, where they were spaced, but they didn't really use it.
What I want to push back, though, regarding Gyökeres is this idea that I heard from some pundits and people on the radio. Is like, when other Gyökeres is there, you have to pump crosses into the box. And I'm like, the 1990s are over. This isn't Niall Quinn who you signed.
Yeah.
There are many different ways to serve Gyökeres, and simply delivering tons of high balls into the box for him to knock down. This isn't it. You got him because he's much more multifaceted, as we saw at Sporting. Now, whether he turns out to be good enough, worth the money, that's a whole other that's a whole other point. Zubimendi, I was psyched to see what he could do.
Yeah,
I thought Cunha and Mbeumo, 2 guys who we talked about earlier, I don't love those signings at those numbers at all.
Yeah.
But they were such live wires. I thought they got in his face a lot. And I thought he kind of focused mostly. I didn't see much playmaking from him in this game.
No, yeah.
Because they made it really difficult for him.
Yeah. And again, with only 39% of the ball for Arsenal, it's difficult for him to have an impact with the ball because I think they run 8 kilometers or 7 kilometers more than United. They had to run a lot. They didn't, with the control that they had, still, they didn't have much of the ball. And his game is all about that, right? So I thought there was a couple of sloppy passes, and I think it took him a long time to get into that game, to get into the rhythm, which is, again, understandable. First game away at Old Trafford, when you've never played in the Premier League, where you've played well in the friendlies, but this is very different than pre-season. So I always thought this was going to be tough for him, and it was, to be fair. I expect him to be much better against Leeds, for example, on Saturday. And then as the season continues, but this was always going to be tough. And also there's Bruno and Casemiro against you and all that kind of experience, and Bruno must be a nightmare for all the things I don't like for Bruno playing deeper. It's true that he must, because of his energy and intensity all the time, it must be difficult to play against him when he plays that deep.
Lewis Skelly came on, got himself booked.
Timber as well.
Timber, although I thought Timber played well.
Yeah.
Unlike Lewis Skelly. I mean, not that Lewis Skelly was bad, but do we read anything in his decision and the two fullbacks who did start, Ben White and Calafiori? Are we going to see alternating fullbacks all season? Do you have any sense of that?
No, I don't know. I thought White played a lot in preseason, so maybe slightly fitter. Well, I think fitter than Timber, really. For Lewis Kelly, I think it depends really what the opposition is. If you want a left back that would go into midfield a lot and add that extra player there, Lewis Kelly is good for that, and I expect him to start against Leeds.
So is Calafiori good for that?
Yeah, but like in a game like yesterday, that was not what he was there for.
It was more about the size and physicality.
Yeah, and just to keep that back four like it was against the front three of United. You knew United would have a front three with the two wing backs really high, which they did. So it was not, you needed more of a defender at that left back position than a midfielder like Lewis Kelly, which is what he is.
All right, let's go back to United. As I said, I think there's a ton of positives to really take from this game for all the Ruben Amorim haters and naysayers out there. He's had time to work with his team. I think it shows. He'll have more time during the season because they're not playing European football.
Yeah.
That's the good news. In midfield, I thought Casemiro showed up. Again, amazing even with older players. Like, when he's back, you're like, oh, his legs have gone. Yeah, okay. But when he's rested over the summer and he has a proper preseason, I thought he did okay. Yeah. And then you've got Ugarte, who's presumably is your mainstay there. The old chestnut of Bruno Fernandes deeper. I understand why he's there. This is my theorem. I don't want him there because he's too far away from the goal and he's still United's best scorer and assist man. Until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you brought in Sesko. You brought in these other guys. Has he committed to Bruno in the deeper role now, you think?
No. I think it will depend if they sign a midfielder, whoever that is, whether that's Baleba, or I think Baleba is very difficult to do, but somebody else there that can pass the ball, because Casemiro, can do to a certain extent. Ugarte can't do it, we know that.
Menu can, but then he doesn't run.
Exactly. So Menu can't play there, not at this level. So then you just need, for now, Bruno is the only one who can play there and pass the ball. So I think to the detriment, in a way, maybe to what United can do in the final third of the pitch. But for now, I don't think they have many other options. This is the only choice that they have.
On the other hand, if you play Bruno in the two, then
one has to be benched.
Mbumo, presumably, or Cunha. One of those two drops out.
Yeah.
Which is also a call to make. Also, there's no room for Amad Diallo. I mean, I still like Amad Diallo in the wing-back role. I think he can do that too. Obviously, he didn't start this game. But he has options. And I like the fact
Mount,
that
Mount did well, I think, as well. I like Mount. I think Mount can be really useful for this team. Not as a starter, maybe, but as a first or second option off the bench, I think it could be interesting.
Mount can pass a little bit. Yeah. Maybe he can drop deeper. No. All right. On Sesko, what'd you see?
Half an hour. The only thing really is the header on the cross by Bruno.
He also had the back heel too. That was pretty.
Yeah, true. And
delish.
and maybe he could have done slightly better with at least put on target. It was a very difficult header, to be fair. But he would be a presence. He's strong. You said that you felt like he looked stronger or beefer maybe than what.
He was kind of stick-like early on.
Yeah. He still is. Yeah, I think he'd be good for this team. It's just, you saw what happened in the first hour when Cunha. So one, I think Cunha is better as a 10 than as a
9.
As a 9, like he was for the first hour, even if he was good there. But then Sesko will need to adapt to this team. The way the team played with Cunha as a 9 and then Mount and Bomo behind, I don't think you can play like that with Sesko. So it'd be very interesting to see, because I think you can play longer then on Sesko.
Yeah.
You should be able to. But that, I'm not sure that is good too much for Cunha. It'd be very interesting to see once they get.
I'm in the vein of bold predictions, right? I gave you my verts one. I think if this works, if this setup works, we're going to gravitate towards a de facto 3-4-1-2, where in the 2, somebody who's going to be closer to Sesko and alongside him. I think it's too big an ask for him to be beyond that. And if you lose, it means you have to change your pressing triggers, so be it. Because I think they're very mindful of what happened with Højlund last year, also psychologically.
Yeah.
You go from Leipzig, where everybody hates you. Yeah, there's 60,000 people in the stands, but it's 60,000 Muppets. And now you really are in the glare. I think they're going to do their best to bring him out, to take as much of the pressure off him as they can.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they would change the system at all. I don't think they would change anything tactically. And again, the game on Sunday shows that this is improving and this is working. He would just have to fit there as the 9. And he will have enough support with Mbomo and Cunha, Mount, Bruno, Ahmad, whoever plays there with him. The wing backs are good for him. Amorim said after the game, we need more crosses in for him, which, to your point about Gyökeres and what people are saying about Gyökeres, it's interesting to hear Amorim saying, yeah, let's just pump the box with crosses for Sesko. We'll see. I think he will need a bit of time. But him and Gyökeres will do well. There's no doubt. They should do well. But it just naturally, it needs a bit of time. I think some strikers can arrive at a club and just fit in very well because of the way the team is set up or the way they play. For others, you just need a little bit more work.
Yeah, and I think let's not forget, both these guys simply haven't had that many training sessions with their new teammates yet. There you go. United fans, cheer up. All right, enough United. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Manchester City roll to a 4-0 away win at Wolves. Jules, my boy, Tijani Reinders, is pretty darn good.
He is, yeah. I mean, we knew it. There's nothing that we didn't know that he did in that game. But to see him like that, just bossing that midfield, bossing the game, running the show, doing everything from second assist to scoring to anything you want was just brilliant. And Wolves are not very good. City were good. The relationship between Reinders and Haaland and Bernardo Silva played as a 10. There was a lot of decisions that Pep made in that game that were really interesting. But the fact that Reinders is already so good, I think is very good news for City.
It's crazy. He's 27 years old. I think he only has like 21 caps for Holland. And this is your opportunity to make fun of Dutch managers again.
They don't know much football, to be fair.
But I love the fact that in Italy, where we overanalyze stuff in stupid ways, it was like, oh, well, he's not really a 6. He doesn't have quality to play a 6. He doesn't have the skills to play a 10, blah, blah, blah. And as an 8, he needs to do this. And Pep just says, dude, go out there, look at better players around you and do your thing. And he does it.
Yeah. And he'd be better even when Rodri is back, because that was Nico next to him.
Yeah, and big for Haaland, by the way, to get off the mark.
Yeah. And sticking with City, Gabi, Pep Guardiola said that Ederson is still first choice, but suffered some stomach problems before the game. That's why he was not involved at all. Are you buying this, or do you suspect that the £10 million offer from Galatasaray for Ederson had something to do with it?
Both things can be true, right? It could be the offer, the prospect of leaving, the uncertainty contracts that can give you agita and stomach problems. I don't know. In Italy, inevitably, they're linking all of this with Donnarumma as well as Onana's absence, because he was injured. This is a situation that evolves. It's interesting to say that Pep said, no, he's still my number one. Is it going to happen if he leaves? I think if you spend that much money, I just go back to this for all the Donnarumma people out there. if you spend so much money on a goalkeeper like they did with Trafford, and he's only a couple years younger than Donnarumma, you're not going to drop him to the bench because presumably you think of Donnarumma long term.
Yeah.
Barcelona race out to a 3-0 win over Mallorca, who go down to 9 men by minute 39. Jules, 18-year-old Lamine Yamal, looks as sharp as 17-year-old Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, he did very good. I mean, he gave an assist to Rafinha very early on, then he scored a lovely goal right at the end to finish it off. Loads of dribbling, loads of shooting. Maybe not always the right decision-making, but still outstanding. Lamine, in a game that was done, obviously, after 39 minutes and the 2 red cards.
They got lucky with the second goal, though.
I mean, the Ferran Torres goal should have never been allowed to stand.
Let's describe it for those who might not have seen the highlights, but basically there's a shot. It hits, I think it's Antonio Rayo, the Mallorca captain. It hits him in the head. The guy collapses to the pitch.
Literally, it looked like he was passing out.
Yeah.
Everybody stops.
The referee, it looks like the referee's bringing the whistle to his lips. So the defenders stop, and then he's like, oh, no, he's fine. There's a protocol for head injury. And that was, and I'm surprised VR didn't step in. It's okay. The referee froze, made a mistake. It's all right, you know.
Yeah, and I think that frustration led also to, not directly to the 2 red cards, but I think explain as well why they were so pumped after that and angry.
Yeah, Muriqi trying to take somebody's head off is not a good look.
Gab, you might have enjoyed Barca's win like me, but Hansi Flick did not.
Yeah, I thought this was really surprising. I always take a step back because I figure, Flick is with the players every day. He knows what motivates them or whatever. But he came out and he's like, I don't like the way we played. We dropped our intensity. We were at 50% intensity. Bro, you're 2-0 up. 11 versus 9 in the second half. What are you talking about? You should be happy that the intensity drops so nobody gets injured, right? So that nothing stupid happens. You're not going to learn anything from scoring more goals. Look, my thoughts on running up a score.
I agree with you completely.
I think it's dumb. Different cultures say, oh, no, we respect our opponents by scoring 50 when they're 9 to 9 men. Great. I don't think this is what he was talking about. He was talking about intensity, whatever. You're not going to improve because you're never going to play against, against 9 men again. What do you want? It was just a curious way to come out.
You're right.
But
absolutely.
hey, we have to have our faith in Flick because
he can be demanding.
He's the coach and he's the reigning champion. Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits.
Yes.
Let's go to the German Cup, the Superpokal. Franz Beckenbauer. Bayern get the better Stuttgart 2-1.
Yeah.
And the old guy between the stakes makes some outrageous saves. No more making fun in the fact that they continue to have faith in Manuel Neuer.
No, they're not, because he was key in this. I mean, Harry Kane scored first in a goal that the ball dropped luckily for him. After that, the Bayern were good, were okay. But Stuttgart, I thought, were outstanding. Woltemade up front, maybe with something to prove. Being a nuisance, Neuer having to make big saves, 2 at least, before Luis Diaz with a lovely team goal and individual finish with his head to make it 2-0, and then a late goal from Stuttgart. But maybe, I think Stuttgart could be very good this season. If they keep Woltemade.
And shout out, by the way, to Leon Goretzka. He's back, baby.
Yeah. And Olise at the 10, to replace Musiala. And sticking with Bayern, Gabi, they're still working on a Christopher and Nkunku deal. What's the problem?
So the problem is, apparently from Chelsea's perspective, they want a permanent deal. They don't want any of this loan option to buy stuff. I don't really get that. I mean, I can understand why they want to get some money back in. His amortization is still high. If you're Bayern, you don't need to do that. You say, if we want this deal, we'll pay you a loan fee like Milan did with João Felix, and then we'll take him. I think Nkunku would make a lot of sense for Bayern if his head is screwed on right. Yeah. And that's a big question mark because for the last 2 years, it really hasn't been. They're still pursuing Woltemade. I think you have to get somebody in because the reality is, if you're talking forward players, it's 3 out, right? Coman, Sané, and somebody else I'm forgetting.
And then the Musiala injury.
And then the Musiala injury. Yeah. You got to get... and Thomas Muller, plus the Musiala injury, right? So, those are 4 bodies out and just the 1 body in. And so, I know they've got hopes for Bischoff and stuff, but he's a kid and not necessarily his position yet. So, they got to work on this. And I think they're going to make another attempt at Woltemade, but I don't think that's going to lead anywhere.
No, I agree.
Tottenham beat up Burnley 3-0, Jules, after parking the bus against Paris Saint-Germain. Thomas Frank unleashes his Ferraris going from a 5-3-2 to a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
How about that Richarlison?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of reproducing the one he scored at the World Cup a little bit for Brazil in Qatar. Lovely finish. Kudus was great. Richarlison was great. Burnley are a terrible team already. We can tell you that. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for them to stay up. And even if everything was not perfect for Burnley, for Spurs, against Burnley, their second goal came quite late compared to the first one, for example. That was really early. It's still a very good win to start the Thomas Frank era, certainly in the Premier League.
Burnley, by the way, are terrible.
They're terrible.
They look really, really poor.
Chelsea are held to a scoreless draw at home by Crystal Palace. Gab, how did they look? And did you know this rule that got the Eze goal disallowed?
I did, because I've seen free kicks disallowed for it, not in the Premier League, and I reported on it. I think it's been there since 2019.
Yeah.
And that was when people started making second walls and putting people close to the wall. That somebody made the joke that the reason Palace didn't know the rule was because the rule had been sent to info at Palace or crystalpalace.co.uk, or whatever, which is supposedly where UEFA sent their notification. And it seems pretty obvious, the rule, frankly. I thought Chelsea looked flat, and I thought Palace looked really good. And we know Palace can do this. They did it against Liverpool in the Community Shield. Chelsea, you have a lot of new moving parts. 2 new wingers, 2 new forwards. Obviously, there was no Colwell at the back.
Yeah.
Ashampong, I thought, struggled a little bit. Palace look good. Question is, will Gay and Eze stick around?
And Chelsea have only been training 10 days. This is a preseason game for them. They can't be ready physically for the Premier League.
Not a coincidence that if you look at Chelsea, you look at Bayern, you look at Paris Saint-Germain, all of them are behind. Now, this was way back on Friday, but it's the champions, so respect.
Yeah.
None other than Federico Chiesa has to come off the bench to rescue Liverpool against Bournemouth before Mohamed Salah makes it 4-2 in garbage time. Jules, I'm going to say it again. Slot hasn't found his balance yet.
Yeah, he talked about rest defense after the game, which I thought was really interesting, the way they considered the 2 goals, probably the second goal even more, the Semenyo one. I think there's work to do defensively, especially with the shape. And again, at times you saw that they were a bit all over the place. Frimpong and Gyökeres, who then were replaced by Slot. I'm not really sure in the best way when Gomez and Endo came on and Robertson then on the left-hand side. I thought it was a little bit all over the place, but this will improve. With the ball, there were some really good things, and I'm glad Ekitike scored, even if he's lucky on his goal. But there was a lot of good things. There was also a lot of things in that midfield without Gravenberch, which Slot touched upon as well after the game. Gravenberch coming back for Saturday's game, for this weekend's game, is massive for them, because with him and without him, that balance that you mentioned is very different.
You can't have another season where everything hinges on Gravenberch. I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I think at some point you have to weigh up the new chemistry and what you're trying to do, which is objectively difficult and interesting because it's so different from last year, versus getting the results. And if you start dropping points, at some point he's going to say, all right, we don't want to fall behind. And I think that's the big call he's going to make.
And the match was sadly interrupted for a few minutes following racist abuse directed at Antoine Semenyo, Gab. But it was dealt with swiftly.
Yeah, and when it comes to this, I choose to look at it the way Semenyo did. When he said after he released a statement, he says, I'm going to remember this day for the rest of my life, not for what some idiot said to me. I think he was taking a throw-in, or he was by the sideline anyway, but for the way everybody rallied around me. And I have to say, the system worked. And the match was stopped. The protocol was applied. The perpetrator was identified. I think we also need to give credit to the fans around him in the stands who pointed him out. He was arrested on suspicion of racially aggravated public order offense, or whatever they call it here. This is the way it's supposed to work. And we can either go and lament the fact that it happens, and obviously it shouldn't be happening, but I think we can also draw comfort from the fact that when it does happen, there is a swift response. And we should demand that everywhere it happens.
Yes.
Luis Enrique wheels out the B team against Nantes, but he needs the big guns back on the pitch and a deflected little Vitinha shot to get the 3 points. Jules, what did you learn?
No, nothing. It's a preseason game. It was lovely. It's good to watch and see some of the kids. It's good to see some people getting...
Preseason game. That's
what Luis Enrique said. It's not me. Doesn't come from me. I just repeat what Luis Enrique said.
He needs to check his head a little bit.
No, he said this is a preseason game, and he's right. They've been training for 10 days. So the Super Cup was like a preseason game. This is a preseason game. They played some people 45 minutes, others 60 minutes, others 30 minutes. It'd be the same next weekend. He made, I think, 8 changes or 9 changes to the team that played on on Wednesday night. He was going to make another 9 changes to the team that plays next weekend. And that's it for probably another couple of weeks. And then they will be ready. But you saw they were not ready. They were a bit sloppy and everything.
And you wonder maybe if, I don't know. I'm just wondering from the people who pay for the TV rights if I want to go and watch Lucas Hernandez and stuff like that.
It's only the first couple of games. It's not like it's not.
Well, let's see how long his preseason lasts.
Yeah, no, he said like 2 or 3 games maximum, which is normal. He's not going to play like the full team. Nah, they're not ready for it. Milan rolled to a 2-0 win over Bari in the Coppa Italia as Rafael Leao and Christian Pulisic both score. Good start to the Allegri era.
Yeah, good start. Rafael Leao coming off injured after, muscular problem, but it looks as if that was just a precautionary matter. I think there are so many question marks about Milan this year, from whether they're going to play 3 at the back to are they going to bring another striker, whatever. But I think the single biggest thing that you want when you bring in a new manager is that he meshes with your big guns, with your important players. And it's obvious, Leao and Pulisic, both of them already seem to have that feeling, that rapport with Allegri. That's really, really important. Leao's had a monster preseason. Leao and Pulisic up front. If you believe in this and if Leao can stay fit, do you need to go and get another high-profile forward of Vlahovic or Højlund? Are you better off maybe get somebody lesser? And you got those two in Santi Jimenez? I don't know. I just something to think about. Jules, I was so excited to see what our boy Roberto De Zerbi could do in Marseille after the big summer window that got him Paixão, Jonathan Rowe, Angel Gomes, and of course the mighty Tim Weah. Indeed, instead, despite playing more than an hour with the man advantage, things don't go according to plan against Stade Rennais.
Yeah, no, it was Jonathan Rowe was there already, but yeah, for the other 3, and Paixão is injured, so we won't see him just now, probably not before mid-September after the international break. And Tim Weah came on at halftime, but Angel Gomes started, and Marseille lost 1-0, despite, as you said, playing for an hour with 11 men against 10. Late goal from Blas.
No?
I think the best thing was what happened in the dressing room after, because already there was a lot of tension. There was almost a fight between Rowe and Rabiot, and De Zerbi had one of those lines that he loved, saying that you here have small balls to play for Marseille. You need big balls. I need to see big balls on the pitch. So this is where I will leave it to you.
Yeah, and the fact that all of this leaks out straight away,
of course,
speaks to some of the issues, some of the challenges that Marseille will have
that's the
if
same.
they're going to knock Paris Saint-Germain off the perch.
That will never change anyway. Atletico Madrid threw away the lead against Espanyol away and ended up losing 2-1. Gab, this was weird from Diego Simeone.
Yeah, so I have to say, in the first half, they were really, really good. Tremendous Julien Alvarez free kick. They created chances. Alvarez is really the only striker, which I thought was interesting when, on the bench you had Griezmann and Jack Raspadori and of course, the only living Sorloth in captivity. He makes a change at halftime where he takes off Gallagher and Cardoso, and I thought Cardoso played well. I think they both did okay.
Well, yeah.
He replaces them with Coque and Barrios. For a while it lasts, and then they just lose control of the game. And you can blame my boy Captain Jack for losing his man on the second post, and you also wonder why you want a little guy like that covering a big fella. He's got to figure this out. You can't drop points like this early in the season, and I think this is on El Cholo. Athletic Club makes hard work of it, but end up beating Sevilla 3-2. A goal and 2 assists for Nico Williams, who is looking real sharp this season, unlike last year.
Yeah, this was a really enjoyable game to watch, to be fair. Matias Almeida for his debut, obviously, with Sevilla on the bench. Luke Bacchio was a lovely goal, one of the goals of the weekend. But then Nico really sharp, really decisive, looking good in that first home game of the season. The home form is not really the problem for them, I think. This one, they got pegged back to 2-2 before winning, but it's more away from home that I think if they want to aim higher than finishing 4th, which is, I think they are the 4th best team in this league, probably with Villarreal, but if they want to maybe go ahead of Atletico Madrid, which they won't be ahead of the other 2, but at least of Atletico, then their away form has to improve compared to last season.
I gotta say, I'm not a Nico guy. I thought he was kind of totally overhyped after the Euros, and he kind of came down to earth last season. But it looks like not only did he look great, but it looks like the whole team is kind of like based around him. Maybe it's also because Sunset isn't there. He popped up on both flanks. He popped up through the middle. Just a really mature performance.
Yeah, really good.
And also, shout out to Sevilla coming back from 2 goals down. given what's going on at that club, the fact that they're alive and fighting is important.
It finishes 0-0 between Aston Villa and Newcastle in the battle of top 6 party crashers with disappointing summers so far. Gab, who had the upper hand?
Newcastle
they
won
destroyed them.
1,000%.
How did they even win that game? It's just...
well, the answer is French. The Brest goalkeeper.
Yeah,
Bizot. Like, Jesus.
I mean, he's Dutch, so...
Oh, he's Dutch? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But he's still...
Yeah,
that's
he
why
plays
his
in
name
France.
is Bizot.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, he delivered
was
one
good.
miracle. He's filling in for Emi. I'd forgotten Emi Martinez was suspended for that stupid thing at the end of the season. This is really bad from Aston Villa. And I think, and I know it's a cliche, and obviously we know the Isak situation and whatever, and so Eddie Howe like sort of pumps his chest and everything. But the players really responded to this. Anthony Gordon at center forward runs around like a maniac, is always a nuisance. The midfield still looks really sharp, and so little from Villa.
No response, nothing.
And honestly, I love Yuri Tielemans. I don't need to keep seeing him at number 10. Like, just, dude, play him deeper. Play him where he belongs. And if you have to play, and by the way, if you have to say, I'm going to play 3 ball winners, do that, right? Play Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans. I'm okay with that. And give the front 3 more freedom. But, I thought this was really poor from Unai Emery. Really poor from Ezri Konsa getting sent off as well. Nobody is going to better laugh at Mr. Marinakis now as Nottingham Forest beat Brentford 3-1 to go top of the Premier League jointly with other clubs. Jules, now they're linked to Rico Lewis as well. This is all good for Mr. Marinakis.
I mean, I thought Olahina was one of the best right backs in the league last season. Then you gave him a new contract, and now you're going to sign another right back.
Rico Lewis is a midfielder now.
Yeah, unless you play in midfield. But again, I'm not sure in the way they play. They need somebody like him in that midfield. But why not? I don't think Rico Lewis wants to leave City anyway. This is very much his home and his house. But let's see. They're going to sign Kalumwendo from Rennes as well. So another forward option. But if you Kalumwendo and you see what Chris Wood has done in that game and the 2 goals that he scored, you're not thinking twice about coming. You're still going to come to Forest, but you're thinking, okay, the old guy is going to be hard to move
He's
away.
on pace to score 76 Premier League goals, which would break the Premier League record, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Let's see if he can do it or not. But it's good from Forest against a team that, let's be honest here, was not ready for Premier League season.
Well, which is funny. We say that we take it for granted, but we always praise Brentford, the Brentford way, blah, blah, blah. Look, they're clever. They get the assistant coach to be the match. But
I think they would be okay. I think they would stay up just about, but they're just not ready now, which can happen, I guess, right? Burnley Premier League big boss Richard Masters had his annual pre-season press conference, Gabby, and you were there. What did you learn? What did he say?
Well, I learned that, look, and I understand it's Richard Masters' background is in sales, so he's very smooth when he talks. And it's a political job. You have 20 masters.
Yeah.
And so he excels at avoiding questions and saying things because he knows that things are going to get him in trouble. So, they asked him, are you frustrated that it's taking so long to resolve the City case? Of course he's not going to answer that. Or somebody dumber would have answered that. And there would have been headlines. And, he said something like, well, I'm not going to discuss that. I don't want to be seen to be taking sides, blah, blah, blah. Understandable, right? They asked him about, the whole business where financial stability rules in England allow you to do things like sell the women's team to yourself, as Chelsea and Aston Villa have done, but UEFA's don't.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him, isn't this a loophole? And he says, well, no, it's not a loophole because the rule is there. Everybody knows the rule. Everybody knows you're allowed to do it, right? So he does these things. We got a little lively was obviously Serie A will be playing a game in that football hotbed that is otherwise known as Australia this year. And La Liga, of course, likely
Miami,
in December, Miami. That whole chestnut came up again, and he basically he smirked a little, and he's like, well, I think we don't need to do that. People know who we are. And I got to say, on this one, you're right. They know who you are. Because whatever else you think of the Premier League, it's just been such a resounding success commercially that, if it's going to piss off the fans, why would you do it?
Yeah.
And I also wonder, is there really that much to be gained, right? So you get a lot of attention, and then you go away, and then you're like, hey, guys, watch us on TV. I don't think it works that way. Burnley keeper Martin Dubravka made history on Saturday, Jules.
Yeah, he did, Gab, because this new rule that said that if a goalkeeper keeps the ball in his hand for at least 8 seconds or more, then the referee would give a corner kick against him, which is what happened in this game. He got the ball on the cross, he kept it for too long, and the referee gave a corner against Burnley. That was the first time that this rule happened in the Premier League. We saw in the Club World Cup. I think it happened 2 or 3 times there. But for the Premier League, that was a first. So let's see if other keepers get caught, if he actually fastens the game. Was that what?
It speeds up the game.
Speeds up the game, that's it. Or really, even if it's applied outside of this game, and sometimes the striker or the player that is the closest to the other goalkeeper goes like one, he starts counting on his fingers. Let's see if it is. But I thought that was good. I thought it took too long and, he got caught.
I'm all for speeding things up. So.
Yeah, me too. And Gab, I could not help but notice watching the Chelsea Palace game that Chelsea still don't have a shirt sponsor, which is the same as last year and maybe the year before.
Well, no, remember they had those hokey short-term sponsors like Damac, and before that they had
Athletic Infinite or whatever it's called.
It's weird. Infinite Athlete,
Infinite Athletes,
which pretend to be an AI company. Look, I don't. As I understand it, from what's being reported, is the reason they don't have a shirt sponsor. They're saying we're worth this much, and if you don't pay it, we just won't sign with you. And that's fine. It's a big call. There's got to be somebody there in the commercial department who is making that call. And they're putting their backside on the line to do this, because obviously every week that passes without a sponsor is a week that you don't get revenue for.
Yeah.
So you may say we're worth 80, but they're only offering 60. But over time, presumably your demands have to go down, right? Yeah. Because this is all unsold inventory, to use it in advertising speak. Barry FC are back in Ligue 1 after 46 years. Jules, how did they get on? And I'd like you to talk about them without being patronizing to your little brothers. No, absolutely
no. I love them. I mean, I almost played for them when I was a kid. They played next to where I lived, where I grew up. So I love them. Didn't know as much as PSG, but I still love them. Back after 46 years, as you say, incredible achievement to come back to the top flight. They lost away at Angers 1-0, where despite being 11 against 10, for over half an hour, they showed that they just are not there yet. They need more players, better players than a team that was still mostly the team that played in the second division last year. But it was good to see them back, and they've had a lot of hype and there's great momentum to go forward in this season. But that was a false start, really. Nicolas Zalewski joins Atalanta from Inter for 17 million euros. Gab, this was good business for Inter. And does this have any Lookman implications then?
So the way every single person who reported this went out of their way to say, this has nothing to do with the fact that Inter want to sign Ademola Lookman. I guess we either believe it or we say they really want us to believe that. I think Zalewski is a good player. I think 17 million is
cheap.
It's cheap, you think?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So Inter exercised their obligation to buy in June after taking on loan from Roma for 6.5 million. So from Inter's perspective, we've made 11.5 million very quickly.
Yeah.
Atalanta like their wing backs. That's obviously what he does. I find it hard to believe. I mean, Inter presumably reported going after Manu Kone.
Yeah.
Who we drafted years ago, if I remember our draft.
Absolutely, yeah.
Come on, Lookman's different level. Seriously?
I know.
Like, we're going to talk about Manu Kone and Lookman in the same, I don't know.
But they're not in the same position. So you think they can do Kone but not Lookman?
I don't think they can sign both.
Okay, yeah. I see what you mean then. And I think they need Lookman more than Kone, would you say?
I think so. I think, a little bit I don't have an issue with Taremi. He's not as bad as people suggest. But the point is, when when Thuram or Lautaro go out, then you bring a guy who, he's a big dude. If you want to keep that vitality, that energy, if you want to look at maybe sometimes playing a front three, I think that have a different coach. Inzaghi's gone. It's Christian Kivu. He doesn't necessarily need to go and follow everything Inzaghi did. Lookman gives you so many more options that way. Olivier Giroud, the very handsome Olivier Giroud, having conquered Hollywood, comes back and he makes his return to Ligue 1 and he scores.
Incredible. 13 years after leaving the league to go to Arsenal, obviously, and then Chelsea and then Milan. And then, as you say, LAFC, where that's probably the only place where things didn't work out for him. And he was disappointed and wanted to leave. Comes home to Lille, scores on his debut on the opening day of Ligue 1 away at Brest. He ended up 3-3 in quite a crazy game because, we talked about the Barcelona second goal that should not have been allowed and that everybody stopped playing. In this game, the Lille third goal happened when the linesman put his flag up for offside. So everybody in the Brest defense stopped playing, but the ref didn't blow his whistle for the offside that his linesman was indicating. And then Lille scored, and then Brest felt like aggrieved and said, like, this shouldn't have happened.
Come on,
play
guys.
until the whistle. We've told you so many times.
I know you're named after a body part, but you've had VAR in France for what, 5 years now? Come on.
But Giroud, amazing. He turns 39 next month in September. He's still fit. He's still good. You need to play on his strength, and that was the problem.
And he's still handsome, more importantly.
Yeah, and it's the problem in MLS with LAFC is that they were not playing on his strength. They wanted to play transition football. It's not good for him. He's never been really that quick anyway, so he can run even less now. But if you play on his strength, he's going to give you goals. And I'm so glad that he's back in Ligue 1. That's a World Cup winner that is back. Paul Pogba is back, and Florian Thauvin is back. So 3 2018 World Cup winners back in the league.
And N'Golo Kante is on his way. You heard it here first.
I hope so, NG.
What league are Grenoble in?
In the second division.
Okay, so maybe after a couple of years, you can go and...
Maybe.
I just want to keep going.
But, for somebody who was still playing in the French second division when he was almost 24.
Because he went to university.
We studied because nobody believed in him to make it as a pro. But I think he's catching up with the time lost, and I think that's really good. Our favorite bold Dutch manager, you know who that is, we don't even need to say his name, insists that Piero Hincapié is staying put at Bayer Leverkusen, Gab. But is Erik ten Hag going to get his wish?
I don't know. I think they're kind of at a bit of a crossroad here. Piero Hincapié is a tremendous defender.
Yeah.
And he looks around in whatever way you want with the players that, Xhaka and Florian Wirtz and Frimpong, with the guys they've lost.
Yeah.
This is a transition. This is a rebuild. And he's got to ask himself, do I want to be here at the Bayer Arena playing in front of 25,000 people the rest of my career? Or do I have more legitimate aspirations?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's a very good defender. He's 24 now, something like that.
Left-footed.
He's left-footed. I know you have your thing. He can join Arsenal and join the other 12 left-footed defenders. No, actually, Arsenal are the last place you want to go with your skill. They do not need somebody with your skill set. But there are many others who could use it. He can play a little midfield as well if necessary. I'm not sure. I think you could see a move at the end of the market. And I think Leverkusen have come to accept that, all right, we've made the big news. We cashed in. This is going to be a multi-year process. Maybe this guy doesn't need to be a part of it. Fluminense goalkeeper Fabio has equaled a record most thought would stand forever, Jules, or at least until Cristiano Ronaldo turns 50.
Yeah.
Peter Shilton's mark for most appearances in competitive games, 1,390.
Yeah, incredible. He's 44. Fabio, you saw him maybe at the Club World Cup if you watched that. Obviously, he was there with Fluminense, still being very good, he's not there just to break the record. That, by the way, could happen tomorrow as we record the show because they have a cup game in Brazil on Tuesday. So that's when he will go 1,391 and forever be the number one. He spent 16 years at Cruzeiro before going to Fluminense. He played in a couple of other Brazilian clubs. Wonderful achievement, really, when you've played that many games, that consistency, the fact that you never got injured. And I know it's probably easier not to get injured for a goalkeeper than an outfield player, but still,
go tell
it's
Manuel
wonderful.
Neuer that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but don't go skiing. I think Fabio doesn't ski. Probably that's the key here. But yeah, amazing. So well done to him. And like I said, by Tuesday, be the only one right up there.
I did check Gigi Donnarumma. He's on track to break it. He has more. He's about 50 more appearances at the same age.
Wow, amazing.
But maybe that's why he's going to take the season off at
yes,
Paris Saint-Germain.
Exactly. It's too easy for him. Gab, remember the official song of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, the Waka Waka, this time for Africa? Well, the band who recorded it with Shakira, the singer who sang it, says that more than $10 million that was supposed to go to charity is now accounted for.
How could I forget?
So what, the money disappears?
Waka Waka. No, so what happened was, they're wondering what happened because... So essentially Shakira agreed to do it with this band called Freshly Ground. And they were supposed to, whatever money, royalties we get from this, it's going to go to a number of different African charities. However, the charity that was giving out the money and presumably was getting the royalties, that shut down in 2014, according to the founder of Freshly Ground, Simon Atwell. So, but since then, every time you play the song on YouTube, every time it comes out, and that song still gets played all the time,
all
right?
the time,
more so than other World Cup anthems.
So where is that money going?
I don't know. The FIFA saying we're looking into it. Sony, I think, who put it out, saying, "Oh yeah, no, we need to figure out where that money went." Somebody's collecting the royalties on this song. So it seems weird to me that it took them 11 years to figure out, hey, where's all this money going?
That's very true.
Jules, this brings us to an end, but we got to come back on Thursday. It's Xabi Alonso's debut for the mighty Real Madrid. Yeah. Among other things, transfer window, again, heating up. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.